When I was younger, summer was my favorite season, and I dreaded the fall when the days got shorter and colder. But now it's actually one of my most favorite times of the year, and something I look forward to a lot. I love the fall decorations, fall activities like pumpkin patches, apple picking, watching the leaves start to change and fall, and just the overall cozy feeling that the season brings. So today I want to share a day in the life of cozy fall homemaking as we welcome the season and bring it into our home. We start off our mornings with freshly ground coffee. Today we were out, so I actually had to run to the store and get some more, which set me behind just a little bit, but it was fine. It was worth it. Husband likes his black, but I have mine with creamer. Next, I got started on breakfast. Today we were doing a chorizo breakfast hash. This is one of our favorite easy meals. I just prepped the potatoes in the oven the day before, and I make sure to cook them a little bit less than I normally would. Then the morning of, I refry them. I make some eggs over medium and fry up some chorizo in a separate pan so that the juices don't get soaked up by the potatoes as they cook. Then we top it off with some freshly grated cheese, and it is so good. I used to buy only pre-shredded cheese, but I found that the texture is a lot better if you grate it fresh yourself. And they also don't put the powder on it that keeps it from sticking together, so it's healthier for you, it tastes better. 10 out of 10 recommend. I typically do a blend of sharp Wisconsin cheddar and Monterey Jack, and it kind of reminds me of a little makeshift Mexican blend, which I love. When everything was done cooking, I just assembled the bowls with extra cheese, of course, and we enjoyed one of our favorite breakfasts together. One of my favorite things that I've enjoyed since quitting my job has been getting to eat 3 meals a day with my husband. Before, we were on opposite schedules, and for a while he was working in the office part-time as well, not completely from home. But now we get to sit and eat together every meal, and it's been really nice. After breakfast, I put away the food and cleaned the counters, and then I got started on putting away the dishes from the day before. This is part of my morning routine and has been for a while, because starting the day with a clean slate as far as the dishwasher goes is just really nice. It encourages me to do the dishes as they come instead of feeling like I have 2 tasks to do, and it just makes my life a lot easier. I'm currently hand washing our dishes only because we have so few dishes and our dishwasher takes so long to run that if I tried to run it, we would run out of dishes before they were done washing. And a lot of our dishes are not dishwasher safe, so it just makes sense for me to use it as a drying rack at this point. Then I oiled our pans. I cleaned out the sink with baking soda. I switched from using a bleach-based Comet to this to lower the toxins in our home. And then I started making the bed. On a normal morning, I would wake up, brush my teeth, start the coffee, and while that brewed, make the bed, then do my morning devotional. And then usually right after that, I'll start breakfast. But because I was a little bit behind today with having to get the coffee from across town, it did set me back a little, so I'm kind of playing catch up. But I love having a clean bed. I really feel like it just makes a room look so much more put together and clean with 5 minutes of effort. And one of my favorite things is getting into a made bed at the end of the day. I feel like it's one of the coziest feelings. So this is something I definitely try to prioritize most days. When that was done, I started getting ready for the day. As a stay-at-home wife, this is also something I try to prioritize as often as I can, especially dental and skincare. But I also like to get dressed and do my makeup and hair almost every day. There are definitely days when I'm sick or when I just feel like having a lazy day at home when I don't get around to it. But for the most part, I really make an effort to try to look my best for my husband. I'm the one he sees all day, every day, so I want to look pretty for him. It also makes me feel better about myself, so I definitely think that it's a worthwhile habit to make time for. After that, I went down to the garage and got our fall decorations out of storage. We're actually moving soon, so these decorations won't be out for long, but I still felt like it was worthwhile to bring them out even just for a few weeks to make the house prettier and cozier. Then I decorated the coffee table. We got this Mr. and Mrs. pumpkin the year that we were married. It says established 2020, so I always love to display that in the fall. As you can see, I'm big on dried pampas decor in the fall, and candles as well. And then I switched out our lightweight summer throw for a cozier, thicker, darker colored fall throw. And the effect was so beautiful. After this was done, I took a little break from fall decorating to start lunch. Today we just had leftovers. I like to do leftovers a lot for lunch. It's easy, it's fast, and we both don't mind. But today we ate a tuna casserole. This is a childhood recipe that my husband loves. His mom used to make it all the time, and so I got the recipe from her and modified it a little bit, and I just make it for him. It's super easy, and he's always so happy when I make it. While that was baking, I served an appetizer of watermelon. It's something I've been doing recently for us. While we wait for the food, I will serve a salad, a side of fruit, or another vegetable. And this just helps us to have a little appetizer so we're not starving when we eat. It helps us to get fuller faster and eat less, and it also helps us to get our fruits and veggies in. Then after that, I finished my fall decorating, and I was so happy with how it came out. So I'm pretty pleased. So pretty, so fall. But like in a very minimalistic way, which I love. We're moving out at the end of this month, but if we weren't, I would love to put some orange leaves cascading down the side of this mirror in our bedroom. And I would love to get some better themed towels for the kitchen. But alas, I'm not that committed. This will do for the rest of the month. I love it. I'm happy. Then it was time to clean up from lunch. I put back on my apron. This one's new. It's from Amazon. I'll link it down below for you guys if you want to check it out. But I like it because it's linen and cotton, and it has a little crossback, which is super cute. It's kind of wrinkly. I should steam it, but I think it's really adorable. I love the neutral color, and most importantly, it protects my clothes really well, and that's what we care about, right? Right. Then I started to make the pie crust because it does need to chill for 1 to 2 hours, so the sooner the better on this. I actually have a full recipe for this on my channel, so I will link that above in the cards and down below in the description. But it is actually, in my opinion, the best pie crust I've ever tried. I cut the recipe in half today because I only needed half, and I don't like storing them in the freezer for too long. I feel like they taste better fresh. But it's actually much quicker and much easier than I thought it would be before I started making pie crusts from scratch. Then I did a quick kitchen reset and started on my bread. That's the thing about baking, you do have to plan ahead and be organized because the bread needs time to rise, the pie crust dough needs time to chill, and then they both need time to bake. So I figured the sooner I could get started on all this in the day, the better. And I was right because everything came out exactly when I wanted it to. One of my favorite parts about making bread is the kneading process. I don't think that I would ever want a KitchenAid with a dough hook. I know that they make life easier, and maybe I'll change my mind when our family grows, but right now I just love kneading the dough, watching it come together, and knowing that this is a process that women followed for thousands and thousands of years. It really just makes me feel connected to the past, and I think it's really beautiful. So at this point, no dough hook for me. I'll use my hands. When that was done, I started working on the peach filling so that it could be ready by the time the dough was done chilling. These peaches were so ripe and delicious. Something I'm really trying to lean into is seasonal cooking rather than just cooking what I want when I want. And peaches aren't in season until late November, so I definitely recommend you try a peach pie this fall. To me, I always thought the peaches would be in season during spring and summer, but I was surprised to find it's actually more late summer and through the fall. But I'm all for it. This is my favorite pie ever, and I will link the recipe for that down below. Whenever I do this part of the process, I always feel like Snow White when she's making the pie with the birds. I feel like it's so satisfying to watch the dough chunks fall off after you cut them. And then I like to use the extra bits to fill in the pie crust. It might not be perfect, it might not be professional, but it does the job, and once you flute it, I feel like you can hardly tell. Fluting it is so beautiful too. I feel like it really takes it up to the next level and makes it look so much more intentional and like a real pie, you know? Then I topped it with my crumble top, placed it on a baking sheet to avoid dripping on the bottom of the oven, and let that bake. Once that was in the oven, it was time to knead the dough one last time, shape it, and let it rest in the bread pan for 1 more hour. For this bread recipe, it's just a simple white bread. I literally got the recipe from the back of my organic flour that I buy from Costco. It's pretty straightforward, but we love it. It tastes good, although my next endeavor is to learn sourdough this year. So wish me luck on that. When the pie was done, I took it out to cool and replaced it with our bread, which had risen very nicely. And took this opportunity to get started on the soup. We were doing zuppa toscana, which is one of our favorite recipes. It has bacon, sausage, potatoes, heavy cream, kale. It's so delicious, and it pairs great with fresh baked bread, let me tell you. In my humble opinion, cooking soup and baking bread are one of the coziest activities you can do on a cold fall day. It just brings so much warmth to your home, and I have really grown to love these things. When the bread had cooled a bit, I transferred it over to the cutting board to cut. With fresh baked bread, it comes out really fresh and moist and warm, and you really don't want to lose that freshness. So the recommended thing to do to keep it from going stale is to cut the bread from the middle. Only cut what you're going to use that day, and then take the remaining 2 sides of the loaf and put them together in a plastic bag or whatever else you store your bread in. The plastic bag just seals in the air really well, but leaving the bread pieces together will keep it moist longer. Then I set the table, which is something I never do, but doing it tonight really made me want to do it more often because it just came out so beautiful. It felt really special compared to our normal dinners where we kind of just grab things and take them to the table. And I think my husband really appreciated it as well. I was just so happy with how it turned out, and I would love to make this a weekly tradition. In the end, we had the coziest dinner. We filled up on way too much fresh baked bread, and we finished it off with our homemade peach pie and a scoop of vanilla ice cream. The rest of the night was, in the words of husband, floor chilling. I cleaned up the mess from dinner one more time, finally got around to my morning devotional, and went to bed tired and happy, having had the coziest day. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out my last one on how to unpill your bed sheets. If you get those annoying little pills on your sheets that make them feel scratchier than they should, this video solves that problem. Subscribe for more content around simpler living, biblical femininity, and the art of homemaking. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.